What's the difference between opinions, attitudes, beliefs, and actual knowledge? I think it is that knowledge is attained by the scientific method, which is really interesting. So it's repeatable. In other words, you can have an opinion, you can have an attitude, or you can have a belief, but it's not necessarily repeatable. And so the scientific method requires things to be repeatable. So you have a hypothesis, you form a theory and a method, and then you have to be able to follow that method to get a conclusion or a result. And so I think everything that, personally, for myself anyway, that I choose to accept as knowledge or things that I know are things that I've been able to repeat through my life. And so when it comes to things that you may or may not believe, I suggest using the scientific method. So in other words, if somebody says there's a religious method you can follow to get a certain outcome, don't form an opinion or an attitude, because those opinions and attitudes are worthless because they're not knowledge. So knowledge is gained by repeating the method or using the method that's been proven to get a result. So that's one aspect, is religion. So if you can follow a method and you can get a result, that's a scientific outcome, and that becomes knowledge. Really interesting, isn't it? Another thing is with health. So with medicine, and as a herbalist, I've found that there's a lot of skepticism around herbal medicine, but the fact is it's been around for thousands and thousands of years, and it's repeatable. In other words, the herbs were used by people of all different cultures, of all different nations around the world over many thousands of years, and the results of using those herbs was repeatable. And recently they've done scientific studies, or double-blind, placebo, crossover trials and all that sort of thing, and they have found that most of these herbs, in fact pretty much all of them, do have the outcomes that were said to have occurred in the ancient records. So there you go. And as I'm a big advocate of detoxing, there's a lot of skepticism, there's a lot of opinions, there's a lot of attitudes, there's a lot of beliefs, but unless you actually follow the method and see what the outcome is, you'll never know for yourself. So that's how you gain knowledge and truth about things, using the scientific method. Follow the process, follow the procedure that's outlined, follow the method, and get the outcome that other people have got by using that method. So I hope that's been informative and interesting, and it really gets you thinking, doesn't it? Attitudes, beliefs, opinions really have no value whatsoever.